Hi everyone, this is Eyad. I'm from Easy Tech Solutions. We're technically a cybersecurity network and IT MSP company, and I got Mo here. He's my colleague and my one of my best friends. He works in an AI company, but he can introduce himself as well.
Yes, it's good talking to you yet. My name is Mohammed. I work at a company called Neuraleap. We're a AI startup that focuses on kind of taking open source and building custom models from scratch and just training them to fit specific use cases and kind of, helping companies retain their own IP and maintain their privacy as well by operating their own models. And in some cases, we also work with third-party models as well. So yeah, I'm excited. I know we had a wonderful experience at CES. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. Also, we've seen a lot of like today actually, I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of people were at CES as well this
Hmm.
year. Very famous YouTubers and tech reviewers as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that I have seen videos of on social media that we as well we actually have not tackled. Like I don't
Hmm.
know if you've seen that Razer hologram for like AI companion thing. Did you
Hmm.
see it?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
no, that was so cool. I saw it on social media, on
Okay.
Instagram today, and apparently the chief, the CEO for Razer was there in Aria, and he was actually presenting it to everyone, and it's
That's
crazy
cool.
because literally, okay, what was very interesting is that you have like a hologram, and you can customize it how it looks like and how it sounds like, and here you go, that's your AI companion there.
Wow.
It's amazing. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
seen
that's
a lot of other things too. Like Lenovo actually had a lot of good and new technology that they released as well. And I don't know why Samsung did that, but they were showing their trifold Samsung yesterday as well.
hmm.
Yeah, I've said I don't know. All of that I've seen it on social media, not while we were there, but
Yeah,
at the same time we tackled a lot of like interesting things too,
yeah,
because most of the things that we tackled were AI, like for example, like how like unleashing AI with the integrations on PCs and how
yeah,
AI integrates with mental health, and that's actually very interesting. What
yeah,
was, yeah, what was your favorite thing or the most interesting session that we've attended in your perspective?
yeah. I think two sessions stand out to me off the top of my head. The first one is that session with Intel, where kind of they discuss the concept of where things are heading with the agentic AI focus and how that's just going to scale. And now we deal with the issue of like scaling inference more than anything and reducing costs. That was a big component of it. And then the other part was like how do you tackle privacy and the issue of like hosting local models. So that whole presentation they did where they were discussing the open tool that they're creating kind of to lead the industry in that sense, where you can kind of have this hybrid system, which in complicated tasks, it will use a cloud-based LLM, just to kind of augment the process of the agentic pipeline that you have. And then the rest of it will mostly be tackled by your local LLM and your local agents so that you can have that cost reduction, you can have that private and local control, and that element of security. So I thought that was very cool. I thought that was very unique. And I think this is because every year we've noticed this trend because we're day in and day out working in AI. So every year there's a theme, right? Since basically 2022 with OpenAI, there's been something that's a theme of the year. So last year it was all the hype of agents, right? Agents and MCPs and all this cool stuff and what agents can do. This year, I think it's going to be more so about how do we take agents to the next level. And it's going to basically be about those two things. Like how can we reduce the inference cost for agents because they can really add up. And then the next thing is how can we maintain privacy and leverage LLMs that are local because they've gotten quite a bit better than they used to be in the beginning. So yeah, I think that's going to be the theme for this year for sure. And then the second session that was really cool was like the idea of like mental health and like how do you integrate that because some of our clients are in the healthcare space. It's a very big topic. So some of that stuff kind of overlaps a little bit with other parts of the healthcare space, like clinical work and clinical diagnosis. And we've even had a chance to talk to some vendors who were innovating in that space, so that was cool too. So yeah, those sessions are probably my favorite.
Nice, nice. Yeah, what was interesting for me, definitely the Intel, the AI, like unleash AI with the integrations with PC.
Hmm.
And the thing that I really liked about it and was very cool is that first of all, obviously we're using Zoom right now, and
Yeah,
the chief of ecosystem for Zoom
for
was
Zoom. Yeah.
there. Yeah, and he was speaking about how Zoom uses the hybrid infrastructure with
Yep.
AI to improve like backgrounds and to improve their pictures and images.
And
That was
latency.
yeah, and that is pretty cool because we're seeing it live right now.
Hmm.
Um, Also, one more thing that was very interesting to me about that topic is that not only about that topic and the whole CES conference, is
Hmm.
that I think this year it's like what you said, it's all about we already have the AI chatbots and they've been there and like the psychiatrist actually mentioned in one of the sessions, chatbots have been there since the 60s, since 1964.
Yeah.
So what's going to be like the next step, which is technically happening right now, is integrating AI into systems and configurations to do everything for us and not only
Hmm.
answering questions, which is
Exactly.
we already see it. We already see it live, and we've seen it a lot in the conference.
Hmm.
But yeah, also one more thing I would like to add to that, the announcement for Intel about the intelligent start build 3.0 model, that's amazing. Like you can actually build your own architect hybrid architecture on that platform, which is
Exactly.
amazing. Yeah, and I know it is still restricted to some people. Only certain people are allowed to use it for now. But
Yeah.
once that comes out to the public, that will change a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if like other companies, like competitor companies like AMD, for example, is doing something like that or no. But Intel definitely they were outstanding. Like
Hmm.
they were very unique through the conference.
Yeah. I
My
agree.
yeah, sorry.
No, no, I agree. Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally agree. I think
yeah.
it's huge. And one thing that was interesting to me is we've always heard that competitive talk happening between like the Chinese market and the US market when it comes to AI. And if you remember in that Intel session, it seems like there's a lot of more so synergy than competition. I mean, even the tool that Intel's building, the one you were mentioning, they were actually working very closely with, you know, ModelScope, which is the largest open source kind of conglomerate of models that are basically available in the Chinese market. And it's, I mean, it's public. Anybody can use them really, but they're, in China, technically, they came out of there. So I thought that was interesting because they started to actually like MVP and like really work on the project through that first rather than in the US, which I thought was interesting. Because I think there's a general trend where China has been kind of leading the AI space when it comes to hardware kind of efficiency. And I think that's probably why Intel chose to focus on that first over there because they were already ahead of us when it comes to that, with models like DeepSeek and how they innovated with the infrastructure and the architecture of the whole thing. So I think that was an interesting collaboration that happened between like Alibaba and some of that work and Intel. That was very clever of them to do, rather than see it as like a barrier.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Um, yeah, no, Intel has been doing like great things, especially lately. Also with their hardware, not only with AI, like in general.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. A lot of their
they're innovating.
optimizations, if you remember, they mentioned at the hardware level, they're creating hardware that's really going to be optimized for local inference. It's very clever actually because it's almost like they're incentivizing people to use their tool to kind of orchestrate the hybrid system between local and on cloud. But then at the same time, that encourages people to buy their hardware, which is also efficient for hosting local models. So it's kind of a clever marketing strategy.
I mean, the GPUs that they announced, like the B50 and the B60 and the XE models, they already mentioned, like I believe the last AWS summit, that they are collaborating with Amazon
Hmm.
and Amazon data centers actually have all of these GPUs from Intel, like the new ones that they literally just announced. They already have them and they're already building them into their systems.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, so they've been working really hard to exceed in the industry lately. Especially I believe last year AMD was like getting very close and they were actually a little bit like higher than Intel. Right now, Intel, I believe like in the next 2 or 3 months they will like
Take off. Yeah.
skyrocket. Yeah, they will
Hmm.
take off. Um, Yeah,
Yeah.
but also like you mentioned, like the mental health sessions, they were amazing.
Yeah, they were cool.
Uh, yeah, they were especially that they were speaking about like reality that
Hmm.
60% of the people who speaks with ChatGPT or with AI in general are asking them questions about depression, about like mental health
Mental
problems
health. Yeah.
that they're,
Hmm.
they're that they're going through.
Yeah.
So how to like take that and reach to people who are still having trouble getting going to a therapist or like treating themselves and mental health. So they're trying to like get them with AI as well. Not only with ChatGPT or with Gemini or whatever AI is there on the market. No, they're creating their own AI model with specific policies and rules that to be compliant with FDA and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
also
I
mention,
think,
yeah,
yeah, just to add to what you're saying, I think what was interesting is that discussion we saw where there was a data scientist and a few other industry leading people. One of the things that stood out to me was that they were saying they're actually not just, putting a wrapper around ChatGPT and calling it that, right? Obviously, those services exist and they called that out, which I thought was cool. But they started talking about how there are some companies that are actually doing custom work and they're building custom data sets that are high quality. They even had, I forgot the name of the organization off the top of my head, but it was part of the APA, if you remember.
APA
And
Labs,
they
yeah.
said, yeah, exactly, the lab, yep. And so they said you can actually reach out to them and they'll help you get resources, get data, whatever you need to help you build safer models that are actually trained on better quality data. Because one thing that I totally agree with was, and it was mentioned in that session, was like the data you use ultimately is the biggest differentiator. Uh, and that's just been the trend in AI since, like they said, since the 90s, right? Whatever you put in is what you'll get out ultimately. So it comes down to scale and quality really more than anything. So I thought that was cool. I think it definitely opens the door for a lot of innovation in that space. And that's just been the trend in AI since, like they said, since the 90s, right? Whatever you put in is what you'll get out ultimately. So it comes down to scale and quality really more than anything. So I thought that was cool. I think it definitely opens the door for a lot of innovation in that space. I know everybody has access to ChatGPT, but like they said, it's not really the safest. I think there's a focus because we work, like I said, with some healthcare institutions and healthcare projects. But one of the things that I notice is the focus really should be on assisting professionals in that space rather than replacing them. In some cases, well, like with agents and all the hype of agents, a lot of people are talking about, oh, it's going to replace us, right? It's going to replace certain roles and so on and so forth. But I think in the healthcare space, mental health space, I think it's going to be more so about increasing efficiency, providing lower cost help for people with that oversight from experts rather than replacing them. So I think that's going to be the new push that we see in a lot of spaces.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, what do you think about people saying that AI is going to replace them in their professions, especially in the health field? But a
Yeah.
message that was mentioned there during one of the sessions, when they said that no, AI will never be able to replace a professional psychiatrist or therapist because
Hmm.
that will be very difficult. Uh, However, it will be a tool that supports their work.
Exactly.
And I feel like it's not only with the health field, it is in general. Like
Hmm.
even if AI replaces a single profession, it's creating a lot of other professions against it. Like not
Yeah,
against it, but like corresponding to it. Like people will start using AI as supporting tool more
yeah.
than like I don't think it will replace someone as much as it will be supporting people.
I agree. I
And
think overall, I definitely agree. I can see the concern because there's with more efficiency, there's going to be more competition, right? And more demand for better skills, so on and so forth. But I think it's normal. It's just going to be another transition that we witness, just like every other major paradigm shift that happens over time. But I think, like you said, I think what's going to be interesting is to see what new roles come out of this. Like even the BIS, I mean, this is crazy. I saw this the other day, but Andre Kapathe, which is like one of the best AI researchers, and he was one of the founders from OpenAI when they released GPT. He was one of the biggest contributors to it. He said that he is himself having a hard time keeping up with how good AI is becoming at coding. That's crazy. That's like one of the godfathers of AI and OpenAI in general. And he's saying that, so that just shows you how good AI is becoming. And a lot of the people that are in these AI companies and working on complex AI models and architectures, they say that, a lot of times they try to stick to the original way of doing things that they've always known. And their teammate will use Cloud Code and will literally one shot a problem with just a single prompt. And they're like trying to go through it the old school way. And they're like, why am I doing this?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think people are starting to realize at every level of skill set, AI is just going to augment your ability to be better, faster, more productive in general. So I think there's a huge trend in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you, like, technically speaking, you're the one who's going to lead AI, not AI leading you. It's just a
Yeah,
supporting tool for you to get to make you more efficient at work. And
yeah.
yeah,
I think
that's what we've seen as well. Um,
yeah, yeah. I think the biggest thing is going to be like focusing on the right metrics. Like how do we measure things just to know that they're going in the right direction? How can we make sure that if it's something that needs supportive guidelines or evidence or grounding of some sort, that we do that in the proper way and create the proper high quality data sets and then follow the guidelines and keep up with the trends because like I said, things are moving really fast. And if you don't keep up, you'll definitely feel like you're behind.
oh
So
yes.
yeah.
What do you think about the session that was speaking about mental not mental health, about health in space and on Earth?
Yeah, that was cool. I thought that was very interesting because one of the points that they made that was actually very good was when you're dealing with sending different types of people, because they mentioned the example of like how NASA usually would send like the top best performing, most healthiest soldiers who they have some sort of background in the military and so on and so forth. So they're usually like the ideal candidate to send to space. But what's coming up next is sending people who are, normal people, with all kinds of variants and varying health conditions and backgrounds and whatever. So you have to kind of tackle that in a different perspective. And I think this is the same trend that we're noticing in healthcare as well from our work as well is you're trying to train AI to assist, like they talked about, in conditions that are not ideal, whether it could be a disaster and whatever response solution of some sort, or sending supporting tools to space or whatever the situation is, right? So those kind of tricky situations that need some sort of human thinking involved on the spot. I think this is where the next trend of healthcare models, I would say, are going. Because the idea of like creating a tree system, and they've touched on that during the session, it's kind of outdated at this point, like the decision tree. It requires idealistic situations, which don't really happen in real life. Um, so I think there will still need to be a lot of safety and guardrails, but it will be more and more relying on AI taking the lead and the human kind of just making a judgment call like, does this sound, you know, like it's going in the right direction or is it off? Because, like they said, humans have good instinct. So, under pressure in certain conditions, they'll kind of figure things out under the right training, obviously, because they need to be aware of what they're doing to some extent. But I thought that was very cool that this is where they're heading. And then that whole experience that they're learning is translation or translatable to a different environment, different countries that have no access to medical support and so on and so forth. That was very cool.
Yeah, also about they also mentioned about the trip that's gonna go to Mars
Yep,
and
they
how they
did.
will implement AI with it as well, like during
Yep,
the
that's one of
trip.
their goals. Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. That was very
I,
interesting.
I wonder to what extent that information will be public because I think it would be cool if it's a government backed sort of project, and they do release some more information about how that went, so on and so forth. I know they said it could take, what did they say, like 900 days or something like that for the
Yeah, they
trip?
said about 900 days. Also, they already announced who's going on that trip. Like, I believe there was one girl, I think she's 19 years old or 20 years old. I
Wow.
believe so. Yeah, and they never mentioned the guy who's gonna go with her. But
Mm,
this girl, like, a lot of people were actually talking about it, I believe, like last month.
mm.
And she is in the Navy. She graduated from high school and she just went to the Navy, and they did a
Okay.
lot of tests for her. Like, she's a very healthy person, and
Hmm.
that's mainly why they picked her as well, because
Yeah.
it's going to be a very long trip. It will take years. She will also try to spend years there on Mars. It's not like just going to Mars and coming back
Come back.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this will be very
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, it would be. I think it'd be cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the results. I know they said there's like a 45-minute delay or latency, like in terms of communicating with them. I wonder how much information they'll get though once, let's say, this trip is successful, or if they want to send them information back to see like how the systems are functioning, whatever they find out there, whatever information. I wonder like how soon that would be information that we can know about. Maybe next year we can go and we'll see what else they say.
Yeah, usually they release all these things to the public after a while.
Yeah, typically.
So yeah, so I don't know, but from what we've seen in the past, like I believe that it'll take time for us, the public, to know everything about that trip. So
Yeah, true.
probably in like 3, 4 years, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
So getting back to the products and to the show that we have seen and all the robotics and the
Yeah.
technology that we've seen, what is the most things that grabbed your attention or made you say that, hey, that's extremely cool. That's something that's very unique. I've never seen.
Hmm. Yeah. I think in terms of products, I noticed two trends. One is a lot of devices are starting to incorporate some sort of LLM-based application around it, and we've seen a lot of those, right? We've seen one that like is like a GPT that helps you source manufacturing facilities overseas, right? We've seen ones that will help you learn about certain medical topics in the healthcare space. We've seen different ones like that. Those sort of ideas that some sort of LLM fine-tuned on a particular domain or vertical or industry. Those are very popular now, but previously they used to be just wrappers around GPT. I think now the trend is like they're actually fine-tuning their own open source version and they're just hosting them on the cloud. Um, I think that's going to continue to be the case because now open source models have gotten really, really good to where you can just do that, right? And the more niche your use case is, the better your model will be, and the smaller it can be as well. So it's very efficient to run. We've seen a lot of devices, as you saw, where they claim, oh, this is going to be your portable little LLM computer kind of thing. So you can host it here, you can run it locally, whatever, for your home, for your office. So a lot of devices that are that small are now available because of how good open source models have become and how small they've become and how efficient they are. So that's one side of it. The other side that I thought was really cool is all the kind of home tech or robotics and that kind of stuff. So I thought that was cool because I mean, I'm in tech, right? So I'm a geek in a sense. I like this stuff. I want my home to be like Iron Man's. Everything's automated. Everything's voice controlled. I love that stuff. I know some people get scared about that. We've seen some cool innovation as well. And I don't know if you remember this, but one of the booths we saw, they were creating these like sensors that they don't have cameras at all. They're just purely infrared sensors. And so what's cool about them is they will sense the temperature of the body, right? And they'll be able to detect where people are in terms of their location and whether there's motion or not, and so on and so forth. So I think those are really cool and cleverly implemented, where you can have smart automations across different,
Was
areas
the
of your
one that
home.
was detecting that detects if you're falling or something like that, or
Not
I don't
that one,
remember.
not that one. It was the one where it's like a little circle, almost like a little sphere, and it was
Yes,
all
I,
white.
I remember it now. Yeah.
Yep. So that's very clever because it's just a little sensor. You just put it anywhere, and there's no cameras, so there's no concern about, is it taking videos of me? Can somebody hack it? Blah blah blah. It's just sensing body temperature, right? Through infrared sensors and other sensors. And the more advanced ones, they have a whole bunch of other sensors like smoke detectors and carbon detectors and all kinds of other fancy stuff. So they can, and also they detect like light lumens, like how many lumens are happening, like whether it's daytime, nighttime. They can kind of detect all these things. So that was very, very cool to see. And now I don't know if you remember that part, but they were saying that now they're integrating those kinds of sensors are starting to have direct partnerships with other companies. So I know they mentioned if you have like an Apple phone, it can kind of detect that you are close or whatever. So they start integrating with other devices too. So the IoT side of things is becoming really cool. I know there's a big concern about security, privacy, blah 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 about this stuff. So I think the trend now is how can we make that safer? Less cameras is kind of the big trend I noticed. More sensors that are not necessarily camera based. Now, I don't know. I feel like I personally would be more comfortable with that, but I know there are different ways that those things can still be taken advantage of in a bad way. But I would still probably choose that over having cameras as like the new thing or to detect things and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought that was cool.
Speaking of cameras, remember that dog robot that was in front of the doll and it was
Yep.
just viewing? Yeah.
Yep.
So I figured what it actually does. So apparently it keeps focusing and keeps checking your facial expression and your motion. And according to your facial expressions or your motion and your, like your hand
Hmm.
motion or all these stuff, it it is able to know if you're sad, if you're happy, if you're depressed, all these kind of
Okay.
stuff. And that's why on the screen next to it, it was showing like all of the feelings that
Yep.
supposedly this
Yep.
doll is feeling right now. That actually reminds me, and I bet a lot of people are gonna watch us probably watch the movie Megan, is that that's
Ah.
literally how it started. I don't know if that will be scary or if people actually like it because I
Mm.
mean they will never release something like that unless if there's security about it. Like if it is secured,
Yeah.
it's not gonna harm anyone.
Hmm.
So I mean, up until now, we've seen something like that. It's not a movie anymore, it's not
Yeah.
something that out of our imagination, it's something in real life.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
It
interesting
is.
for me. Also the we've seen a lot of like vendors like Kwikset and I believe
Hmm.
Aura or Akora, the one that does the door locks, and you can open your door just with your palm with the palm of your hand.
Yep.
That was very cool too, because not a lot of companies have that technology yet. I know Kwikset has the facial one, obviously, and
Yep.
they just don't have the palm one yet. I think Akora or I just don't remember the name properly.
Yeah.
They're the
It was
only ones
all
who
right.
are
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. That
Uh,
was unique. That was fun to see. Um, I really like the robots that kind of become like your, I don't know, what would you call it? Like they do the chores in the house for you and things like that. Like the ones with the hands and the little crane and the one that like cleans your windows and like Mon's Salon and all that stuff. Those are all really cool. And like the pool one, there's just so much now. It's crazy.
yeah, it's not only the robot that cleans your house, it's also the robot slash submarine that actually cleans your swimming pool. So
Yeah.
that was a very that was a very funny one. And I don't know, when I saw it, I just my mind went crazy. I was like, wow, what
Yeah.
is that? What's happening?
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I think I would I would get one of those. I think just for how cool it is. It's just
agree.
so
Yes.
cool.
Like in the future, when we have like bigger houses with pools, yes, that will help a
Yeah.
lot.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was cool to see. It was really cool to see like there's already actual products being sold that do these kinds of things.
Yeah. So also, talking about security.
Mm.
We've seen one of the biggest security groups there, ARP or AARP,
Yep.
and they were speaking about how to prevent scams for elderly
Hmm.
people. And they did not say like technical stuff because, when talking or speaking about cybersecurity in general, it's more of a user issue or a user error more than technical error.
Yep.
So it was really nice of them going on stage, giving advices, how to deal with scams, how to deal with the especially for elderly people, because we all know that most of the people who get scammed now are elderly people, especially with the AI being like improving a lot. Like it can
Yeah.
literally
It's getting very.
imitate, yeah, it can literally like what they said on the stage, it literally imitated the voice of one of the people's grandson telling her that, "Hey, grandma, I really need help right now.
Yeah.
And yeah,
My life's
that
a
my
mess
life is
stuff.
danger. Yeah, and I need like some gift cards or whatever."
Yeah.
And obviously, a person when they hear their grandson is like in trouble, they will definitely try to help them.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was very cool, giving advices there, and everyone can actually go on ARP's website and get a lot of resources from them.
Yeah. I
They're
thought it
all
was
open
cool.
source and for free.
Yeah. I thought it was cool that they had different offices. They said in different states. That was cool. So that if you're trying to do something more local to where you're at, you can reach out to them. They said, and they'll help. I thought that was nice. And it was interesting to see how large this is of an issue because I mean, we always knew that scams are out there, but I never understood like to what extent it's an issue, right? Like how much money is being, stolen from those people, right? So it was crazy to see that they were saying it's like 100 billion or whatever it was. It was a very large amount. And nowadays, with like the senior population, living longer and accumulating more and more wealth, I think it's getting even more dangerous, like you said, with AI and how good it's become. So yeah, it's scary, but also they give some really good practical advice, I thought. So, if it sounds fishy, if like vendors seemingly like queuing you and asking you, reaching out of nowhere for information that's probably not them, so on and so forth. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I personally saw a lot of scams in my industry like happening live. One of my old clients, like very like I think that was 6, 7 years ago, even longer than that. That was
Hmm.
before AI comes out. Yeah, she got scammed with over 50K, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember that. Uh, when you're on your computer and but that was a very famous scam that used to happen in the past. People using their computer was Windows 10 at that time and Windows 8, and suddenly like a pop-up comes out. You've been hacked or not you've been hacked, like you have errors or whatever it is,
Yep.
and
Yep.
yeah, and do not shut down your computer. Yes,
Yep.
until you call this number. Yes. So apparently what happened is that she actually called the number and it was very like it looked very legitimate, like it's
Yep.
from Microsoft.
Yep.
Yes. So apparently she called that number and they sold her on supposedly an antivirus that protects her and all of that. So she had that weird software on her computer that they haven't sold, convincing her that that's an antivirus that, like protecting you from scams. And
Yeah.
they are actually the hackers or the scammers.
It is the
And
scam. Yep.
yeah, and also they installed a lot of remote, a lot of RM. I think it was TeamViewer at that time. I
That
don't
makes
remember.
sense.
Yeah, it was there was another software. I just don't remember what it was, but there was another RMM software that was installed on her computer. And what was funny and sad at the same time is that she they she was with them and she used to pay them, like she paid them for almost 4 years.
Wow.
All what she was thinking about that, hey, that's like kind of like a help desk support, or they're helping me secure my computer and my devices.
Yeah.
So
That's sad.
yeah, she was paying them. And what was even scarier is that they used to give her a call on her phone number telling her, "Hey, your services are not working anymore. You need to send us gift cards." And she would actually go get gift cards and send it to them. And at that time, also, it was not that popular, So dealing like getting
Not
into
as well
a
known.
situation, yeah, it was not known. So yeah, she got scammed for almost like 4 years, and
Wow.
then at the end, coming to the end of it she came to us. At that time, I was working at Staples, and yeah, she came to us. And when I opened her computer, literally the desktop says you've been hacked.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why she brought us the computer. So apparently, what happened at the end, towards the end, she noticed that something is fishy happening, and they're not real. Like something like she thought something is wrong about it. Finally. And
Yeah.
then she was like, okay, when if they call me again, I will not answer. They call her, and apparently there was some incident happening in the street, and the cops were there. So she asked one of the cops to come with her at the house and answer the phone. So he
Hmm.
actually answered the phone, and he told him, "I'm from Torrance Police Department." And the guy was like, "Oh, I'm from the FBI." And then he hung up the phone, and that's when they got into her computer and they wrote, "You've been hacked."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was one of the stories that I
Crazy.
have. Yeah, like technically speaking, I have, lived through it.
You've
Like
seen,
I've
yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing almost happened to me too. I remember back when I was in college, that was, I don't even know how many years ago, long time ago. I bought a new computer from Apple at the time. And very similar thing happened to me where I got these like pop-ups popping up on my computer. Hey, hey, something is wrong, warning, warning, something like that, whatever it was. And I was freaking out. I was like, whoa, what just happened? This is my first Apple computer. I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is an Apple thing. And it says, oh, call this number for Apple support. And I called it. I actually called it. And I just, there's this Indian guy talking to me on the phone. I was like, okay, what's going on? This is happening to my computer. And then suddenly they just started asking me personal information. And that's when luckily I was aware enough to realize something is off about this. So I was like, oh, okay, never mind. Like I think I'll figure it out. And I just immediately closed the phone call, shut it down. And then I was like, I think that was a scam, right? So I went the next day. I just kept the computer off. The next day I went to the Apple store in person and I told them about it. And then they, luckily confirmed that it is a scam. Don't fall for this. Nothing's wrong with your computer. Just exit. So yeah, that almost happened to me too. It's crazy.
Yeah, it happens. And especially with how AI is improving, it's even getting
Scary. Yeah.
scarier. So yeah, one of the
Yeah.
things that they mentioned, and that's one of the roles, and one of the things that we always even say to our clients is that when something like that happens, first of all, nobody will call you from your bank. The
Hmm.
bank will never give you a call. So if
Yeah.
someone calls you and tells you, "Hey, I'm from your bank and you need to transfer that amount of money, or you need to transfer money, or you need to do whatever," that's not the bank. That's a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah, when someone is trying to force you to do something now, otherwise you're gonna get harmed, regardless how harmed you will get. Like for example, uh, your computer is gonna be hacked, or your computer is gonna fry, or you're gonna get, your family's gonna, not your family, but like your devices are gonna get harmed in a way, or
Hmm.
your bank account is gonna get harmed, like we're gonna deduct money or you're gonna go to jail. That's a scam. You just need to stop when the scammer is talking to you. Stop, think about it, and
Yeah.
see, does that make sense to you or no? While they are speaking to you as well, you can Google it, you can search for it, you can because a lot of these incidents happen, and you can actually find similar incidents that happen to other people on websites, and on like people talk about it on videos,
Yeah.
and ARP themselves, they have a lot of incidents that they talk about on their websites, and they inform people on and give them advices on how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So you just need to stop and think, does that make sense? Are they supposed to actually ask me all that personal information about myself?
Hmm.
Why do they need all of that personal info? If
Yeah.
they don't, then,
Yeah. And like
you
you
know,
said, usually those things happen at scale. So there's probably somebody online reporting that something similar happened to them. Like just Google it, search social media or something. You'll probably find
exactly.
something. Those things tend to help for sure. I mean, there was a. I remember a couple of years ago there was this major scam that was happening. I'm trying to remember what major brand or company they were using as the face of it, but it was something very like well known. I forgot if it was Microsoft or Meta or something like that. A very large company. They were using that as like the face of the phishing scam, and it was just a phishing scam on email. But it was very effective. It looked like the real thing. I remember even because I remember I heard about it. Like it became very widespread that I heard about it from people talking about it somewhere on social media or my friends told me. I don't recall exactly, but I just heard about it. And then suddenly I got the email. So I saw the email after I've heard about it. And I was like, wait a second, I think this is it. Because it looked very real. And like you really noticed like tiny, tiny little differences in like the way they type the email or like the URL or like when you click on something, it takes you to the page. It looks a little bit off, but not too off. So it's like it's scary how good those things have become. And with AI, I like being able to create websites really fast and copy designs and styles really fast and voices of people and all that stuff. Like that's going to be very difficult to sift through. But yeah,
Yeah, I always say with AI, there are advantages and there are disadvantages. I mean, right now we're talking about
yeah,
disadvantages. One of the things that people can actually go and listen to podcasts on, like cybersecurity podcasts and stories about it.
mm,
One of the websites is actually called Darknet Diaries. It's very good. I definitely recommend it for everyone. Like I used to actually
mm.
sleep on it, like play a podcast and sleep. It's
Yeah,
pretty good. So like I definitely advise
interesting.
everyone to listen to go on it. Uh, but there are advantages. So for example, I did that personally
Hmm.
and even during work. I created an agent, a cybersecurity agent that actually like with my on there is one that I create on Gemini and there is one that I create on
Yeah,
ChatGPT. So for
yeah,
Gemini, I use it personally and for ChatGPT because my work uses ChatGPT, so I create it
fair
on there.
enough.
Yes. It's cybersecurity analyst. So
Mm,
literally I just create an agent. Any email that sounds or looks suspicious to me, I just, download as an EML or just copy the content, drag it, drop it into the cybersecurity analyst agent that I created,
Hmm.
and it literally gives you an incident response report for if that email is malicious, if it has any, if it looks suspicious or no. You just need to give it like to give the agent the right instructions, the correct instructions,
I
so it can work. But
Yeah, I wonder if, because this sounds very helpful, right? So I
yes,
wonder if something that is free already exists out there that is hosted as an application, like as an actual website that's free. So people can
yes,
copy an email, drop it in there, and it'll analyze it for them, just like a ChatGPT expert, like you said.
there are softwares or not softwares. There are services like companies, for example, like I don't know, I didn't want to say their name, but like Avanan, for example,
Hmm.
they're a company that offers mail protector services.
Hmm.
So they have AI integrated with their product. So what they do, they act as an intermediate agent. You receive an email, it goes to Avanan, it passes through Avanan first. Avanan
Hmm.
analyzes the email, it categorizes it if it is phishing, if it is suspicious, all of these things. And then accordingly, it will either quarantine it or release it. Uh,
Interesting.
Up until now, to be honest with you, it's not 100% accurate, and that's why I use my cybersecurity agent just to double check. But
Yeah.
it is a service. It's out there in the market already. People use it, and it is there. It's just
Yeah.
that if someone doesn't have the resources, or someone doesn't have, for example, Avanan, and I know some of these services cost like they cost a lot. They're expensive.
Yeah.
They can simply do that. They can simply because everyone now have either Gemini, ChatGPT, or Claude, or
Yeah.
everyone has a subscription with one of them at least, right? And even
Or
if you
or
don't,
yeah, or a free version, right? You could still use the free version.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I was literally gonna say now. Even if you have the free version, you can still do that.
Hmm.
So it is a free thing that you can do, and it's very helpful. And that's one of the advantages of AI. Like you're leading it, it's supporting you, and
Yeah.
it's supporting you to protect you as well. It's not supporting you only in your, work. It's not acting like a chatbot anymore. No, it's supporting you in
A
cybersecurity
lot of
wise,
different
and
areas. Yeah.
yeah, in many fields.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're going in the right direction with AI, honestly, with what we've seen at CES. And nowadays it's more of making AI work more than just a chatbot.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's gonna be the trend that we talked about so far, where it's all about agents. And now, okay, agents can do certain things, but how can we make them do the things that maybe they weren't doing before? So I think, yeah, I think that's the trend this year is going to be all about agents and making them more efficient, making them work in areas where maybe they weren't working in before, or they weren't as efficient or as effective in them before. So I think that's going to be the trend. I also think people need help a little bit with like prompting. A lot of people tend to overthink prompting, but then you can actually ask AI to help you with that. So I think it'll be very cool to see more resources out about this. I know some organizations, like I know OpenAI has their own resources to teach people and stuff like that, but actually I don't think they do a good job with marketing that. Because even I know people in the industry, like that don't actually or didn't know for a long time that OpenAI has their own educational platform, how to work with their LLMs and so on and so forth. So I think they probably could do a better job with that. Um, but I do think the resources are mostly out there, but they just need a little bit more help getting more publicity. Um, like I think even for me, with you just talking about having your own analyst for cybersecurity, I think that's cool. I don't have anything like that. I would like to use an agent that does that, so I'll probably start creating my own prompt for that now. I think that'd be helpful. So yeah, I think things like that, maybe create a prompt, put it out there for people to use. I think that'd be helpful.
True. Yeah. Yeah, for me, honestly, I always prefer creating agents than
Yep.
using prompts. But definitely if you have a free version, yeah, you won't be able to create the agents, obviously.
Yep.
So most of the people actually have the free version. So yes, they need to teach them like they need to learn how to prompt or how to use the correct prompts, and I don't know, some people actually get lazy as well about and or overthink about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
one of the easiest ways that I've seen that's effective with that is you just start with the prompt, the instructions that you have, and then just tell the AI to rewrite it and make it more efficient and more effective. That usually works pretty well because the model knows how to talk to itself, right? So it'll actually rewrite it in a way that's easier for the model itself to understand it. So as long as the context covers what you're looking for in the new version that it rewrote, then I think that's an easy way to create a pretty good structured prompt for the model.
they actually, I don't know if you use Gemini or not yet, but
Mhm.
in Gemini, when you try to even create, they call it a gem, which
Yep.
is equivalent to agent. And on ChatGPT, when you actually create a gem, there are two sections. Even I think ChatGPT now has the same thing, like configure
Mhm.
and let ChatGPT write it for you.
Yep.
Uh, Gemini has the same thing too. So literally, all what you need to do is just let it know what you need it to do for you, and it will write the whole thing for you. It will give you all the
Yeah.
instructions, the name, every single detail, everything.
Yeah.
You can literally just write whatever you're thinking, just,
Yeah.
like a draft, and it will rewrite it for you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They're pretty cool.
Yep. But yeah. Is there anything else that you liked or that makes you want to go back to next year's CES?
Definitely yes. I think next year I'm gonna see if we can do a bit more focus on the hands-on labs because I know there was a few really interesting ones that I saw, but they just take a long time to go through, right? Like the one I remember off the top of my head was like a 5 hour long lab. So that basically takes the whole day, right? So I think maybe next year dedicate 1 or 2 days to just do labs and then stay for the other 2 days to like explore what's out there, different sessions, different keynotes, and vendors as well. But I think, we made it an efficient, quick trip this time. But I think next time I genuinely want to spend time on the labs. I think those, from what I've seen, and because I was curious about them, so I started looking up, asking online if people have done them. And it seems like there's a lot of positive feedback. They tend to be pretty good quality, and in some cases they can be, labs that you can continue to build on top of once the convention is over as well. So I definitely want to go next year.
Just don't go without me. We're gonna go
Yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
A conference or event that I always recommend people to go to is actually AWS Summit.
Yeah.
And I know I've been mentioning it a lot even during our videos, but it was very nice. It was very good, especially for developers.
Yeah.
For everyone, it doesn't matter if you're a developer or no. For everyone, it is really good. And the most thing that I like about it is like what you were mentioning right now, like the hands-on labs.
Yeah.
AWS summits, they mainly have labs. They barely have
Mhm.
sessions.
Yep.
So most of their stuff are labs, which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes. But it is something that I definitely recommend everyone going to. I believe Microsoft does one as well, something similar, but I'm not sure 100% when, but I know for a fact like they do one for Azure for people who use Azure and Cloud
Hmm.
PC with Microsoft. There are a lot of integrations. All of the tech companies, all technically, people think they're competitors, but they're actually in real life working together on the back end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there is no competition, or there is competition, but not as people imagine. The real
Hmm.
competition is about revenue, but behind that, or on the other hand, it's all of them work together to get to that specific revenue that each company has a target for, you know.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. They definitely do a lot of collaboration. Yeah. I
yep.
agree.
Yes. All right. Is there anything else you want to say, Mo, at the end of our interview?
Yeah. No, I think it was really cool. I'm excited to see what happens for the rest of the year. I think that was a good overview of what to expect, and where people's minds are at from some of the largest organizations and companies. So yeah, I'm just excited to see where this goes, and hopefully we can take some of what we learned and apply it in our day to day as well.
Awesome. Right, Mo. It was very nice and it was very cool like going to CS with you, and I really enjoyed
Likewise.
it. Yes, I really did enjoy it with you. It was a very fun experience, and definitely
Absolutely.
not, it's my first time,
Same.
definitely not my last.
Yeah, yeah,
But
it's the first of many, hopefully. Yeah.
yes. So yeah, I really hope next time we, like you mentioned, like we can attend more labs. But yeah, to more expos together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was fun. Let's do it.
Awesome. All right, Mo. I guess I'll that's pretty much it for today. But
Yes.
yes, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mo, for everything, and thank you for agreeing to have the interview with me.